This conference will now be recorded.
All right. So what we are trying to discuss today, the scenario is I have a Azure account. Inside the Azure, I'm going to create a storage account. Inside the storage account, so inside the Azure account, I'm going to create a storage account. Inside the storage account, I'm going to create one blob storage. Under the blob storage, I'm going to upload some files like emp1 file, emp2 file, emp3.txt file. This is Azure blob storage. Azure blob storage. This is Azure account. We know very well about how to create a Azure blob storage, nothing but a container, and how to upload a files. This is in the cloud. Now in my local machine, in my computer, I'm going to install a SQL server. Inside the SQL server, I want to write down a query, select star from data existing in these three files, whatever we have uploaded it to the Azure blob storage. How to query the data from a SQL server located in on-premises. On-premises means in our local machine from this Azure blob storage. Querying a data existing in your Azure blob storage to SQL server. This concept we are calling as a Polybase. What is a Polybase? Polybase is a mechanism existing in your SQL Server 2016 version onwards, querying the data from external data sources. What do you mean by external data source? Azure blob storage is an external data source to your SQL Server. The data is not existing in your SQL Server table. The data is in another outside Azure blob storage somewhere. But you are trying to query the data from your SQL Server. The data, whatever is not available in your SQL Server and it is available in another external data source, you are trying to query. You are trying to query that data. It is called external data source. To query the data from a external data source into SQL Server, the mechanism what we have is a Polybase. This Polybase is a feature supporting from 2016 SQL Server version onwards. What is the advantage of this one? The advantage is the data you are not going to store anything inside the SQL Server. The data will be stored in the blob storage only. The storage cost of the blob storage is less cost comparing to your SQL Server. So when you are querying, just that time it is just querying the data and displaying the data for you. It is not going to store any data in your SQL Server. The data will be always in your Azure blob storage. Whatever the data you want, you just writing a SQL query and bringing the data. So to demonstrate this one, what are all the things we need to install on our machine? So we should have Azure account. Yes, we have Azure account. And we should have a blob storage. Yes, we can create a blob storage. That's not a matter. And we can upload the files. Only the issue what we need to install on our local machine is SQL Server. The SQL Server 2016, more than that edition you need to install. Also, at the time you are installing the SQL Server, needs to be add a feature, Polybase feature. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to download a SQL Server. And if you want to install this Polybase feature, your system should have JRE Java Runtime Environment file 8th version, more than 8th version. So two primary things you need to install. One is JRE 8.5 version and SQL Server Evolutionary Edition 2000 greater than 2016. Greater than 2016. And also you need a SQL Server Management Studio to write down the queries. SQL Server Management Studio. You should have a SQL Server Management Studio also to write down the queries over here. Okay. So first, how to download this JRE 8.5 SQL Server Evolution Edition and SQL Management Studio. All the links I will find over here. Simply go over here, SQL Server Evolutionary Edition 2016. Click on download. It's not 2016 or 17 or 18, 19. Any version can do. So I'm going to do on 2017. So you can download this. Click on SQL Server Downloads. So you can download this 19 version also, no issues. When you are clicking on download free trial, it will ask all this basic information. You need to provide all this information. So I don't want to do installation on this my machine because I already installed this Polybase feature SQL Server. On a single machine, you cannot install more than one time SQL Server with a Polybase. I did already. I installed the SQL Server along with the Polybase. Okay. So what we can do, simply open this link I pinged in the chat, open that link and download the 2019 version. Please start the download. So who wants to share your screen to perform this installation? Anybody wants to share your screen? Then we can do the installation on your version. Okay. Who wants to share your screen to perform this installation? The prerequisites to install this one is Windows 10 operating system is must issue. Windows 10 operating system. Okay, Naga Hari Krishna wants to share. So please start the download. I will give you the presenter. So whatever the instructions I'm telling, you just follow by sharing your screen. I'm making you presenter. Yes. Yeah, you can share your screen.
Ram, you can take the control. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, you can take the control.
Okay. on download free, give some input. Fill any information, no problem. Just put in mute also. Can you please select India over there under the country?
Okay. India. Okay. Okay.
Submit.
Submit. Yeah. Okay. Download now.
So please all of you do it at the same time. Okay, it's downloading. The next one is Java runtime file. So simply go over here, JRE 8th version. JRE download. So Java runtime environment downloads. Click on that. Click on these products. Wait. Give a moment, I will give you the link.
Yeah. Sorry, what? What, Ram?
I will provide you the link. Wait.
Okay.
Don't do anything.
Okay. Okay.
Mail ID?
Sorry, mail ID.
Yeah.
nagahariji12@gmail.com.
Can you ping in the chat?
Nagahariji. Yeah. Sure.
Okay, I'm sending a mail to all of you.
Okay.
Maybe some people can ask this one.
Shall I open my mail now, Ram?
Yeah, you can open. So the Java runtime file I downloaded and I share with you. So, through mail.
Okay.
Oh, I think I haven't included your mail ID. 1 second.
Yeah.
Yeah, done.
Okay. I'll refresh once.
Not it.
Yeah. Yeah. I opened my like my mail.
Yeah, try to download the JRE file. Click on the JRE file, 64-bit execution. Yeah, click on download. Click on download. Yeah. Alright, it's downloading. Wait. Because once we are installing the JRE file, after that only we need to install the SQL Server.
SQL Server. Okay. It is like version is 2019 SQL Server.
SQL Server is 2017 version, 19 version.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Already in my machine I had SQL Server 2017. There is no problem, no? Now.
No problem. I think you haven't installed the Polybase along with the 2017.
Exactly.
So now we can
Yeah. Exactly.
do this.
Okay. Okay.
Ram, this is Kanaka. I did not receive your exe file.
I just forward a mail to you. Can you please check?
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
If anybody missing, just let me know. Your mail ID, ping me your mail ID in the mail mail chat, in the GoToMeeting chat or in the WhatsApp. Anywhere you can ping me. I will share right away. Please ping me your mail ID. And Aditya also.
This conference will now be recorded. This conference will now be recorded.
So how to install the SQL Server Management Studio and download link? Just ping this download link of the SQL Management Studio in the chat, so then everyone will get that one in the GoToMeeting chat. Just copy the top link and share that SSMS download link to everyone.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. So what we are trying,
Yeah.
this is completely inside the Azure portal we are doing.
Okay.
Creating a blob storage, and inside the blob we are uploading files, right? And
Yes.
this is the SQL Server we are going to install on our local machine, right? So at the time you are installing the SQL Server, you need to select the option Polybase. So inside the SQL Server, there is an option Polybase. To install the Polybase option also, while you are installing the SQL Server, you need a Java runtime environment greater than 8 version. That's what we are trying to install now. JRE runtime environment that should be installed on your local machine before you are going to install the SQL Server along with the Polybase. If you don't want this Polybase to be installed on your machine, then you don't need a JRE installation. Only for the purpose of the Polybase, I am doing the installation of the JRE. Okay, so that's what we are installing, JRE and SQL Server. SQL Server Management Studio is a tool to write down the SQL queries. To interact with your SQL Server, that's Management Studio is completely a developer designer tool to interact with the SQL Server. So that's what I'm going to do over here. I'm installing SQL Server along with the Polybase. Then inside the SQL Server, you can write down the queries to get the data from your blob storage into SQL Server. If I'm going to display the data, select star from a particular table, then that should refer the data what we have inside the files in your blob storage, and it should display the data. Clear? This concept we are calling it as a Polybase concept.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay guys, let's do one thing. I think it will take some time to download the JRE file. So by tomorrow, all of you, please download all these 3 files, whatever the SQL Server Management Studio and JRE file and SQL Server, these 3 files. So if you are downloading and keeping in your machine all these 3, then we will start the installation tomorrow. Instead of doing today, I want to do the installation tomorrow. Okay, let's wait tomorrow and we'll continue about the installation as well, how to implement the Polybase by writing the SQL queries. Okay, we will meet tomorrow. Meanwhile, I will share again the links you can download. Thank you.